So for this video, I was hoping to do a comparison between my heritage and 23andMe. A few years ago, I had gone on, just out of curiosity, to send in a DNA sample, swab the inside of my mouth and figure out, what am I? Where do I hail from? What different countries? Because, like everybody else, you hear stories about what you are. And the stories I'd heard is that I'm English, Irish, Scottish, and a little bit of American Indian. Now, that last part I didn't believe at all, but, it is neither here nor there. I think everybody hears that they're a little bit of American Indian, especially if you're an American. But I sent for the kit, and much to my surprise, it turned out to be a little bit different than what I'd been told. Absolutely no American Indian in me at all. But I wanted to go back in and do this comparison, and I can't do it because the site, I seem to have lost everything. And the sad part is I had spent so much time putting pictures in it, finding old pictures, putting pictures of me, my father, my mother that I could find, and it just a lot of time on it, and it's all gone. It was like such a waste of my time. But I will tell you what I do remember. From my mother's side, of course, they were right. There is English, there is Scottish, and there is Irish. But surprisingly enough, it's 30% of me is actually Scandinavian, which is kind of weird, but that's okay. Now, from my father's side, I get a real mishmash of stuff. And that is, of course, I am Filipino, which is about 30% Filipino. But then you take the rest of it, and it breaks down between Iberian, Chinese, and of all things, somehow I had DNA in me from South America, which was really weird because I don't recall anybody in our family saying they come from South America. Although I did read somewhere, and I haven't been able to find it since, that the Philippines was actually a penal colony for Spain, and they sent a lot of prisoners from Mexico and from South America to the Philippines. So I don't know, maybe there is a connection there, but it's hard to say because I can't get at my results. They have been locked up, and everything that I put in there erased. So if you ask me about my ancestry, I say don't waste your money on it. It's just not worth it. You're going to go in there and you're going to do all kinds of stuff like I did, and then you're going to go back in to look at it, and it's going to be gone. So that's my opinion of that. Okay, so this is 23andMe, and the first map that's going to come up in a second is going to show highlighted places of where my DNA hails from. That's kind of cool. And you can see Madagascar there, so apparently I do have some ties back to Africa, which makes sense because we all should have some ties back to Africa. It's where we came from. So French-German as opposed to Scandinavian. I suppose that's one half dozen of another. And it scrolls down: Spanish, Portuguese, Filipino. Makes sense. My father was born in Manila. Chinese. Yep. So it all makes sense. It's kind of cool looking at it. Although 23andMe actually did something that My Ancestry didn't do, other than locking me out of my own account. And that's to show that I had at least 2% Neanderthal. And that was kind of cool. I kind of like that. That's neat. So if you ask me, because getting locked out of My Ancestry is more than a bit frustrating, I wouldn't even waste my money on it. I'd go with 23andMe.